Tonight, live from Virginia Beach, Virginia, podcasting all things musical from Southeast Virginia. Our sound, our songs, our artists, and our business. Welcome to SEVACAST with hosts Tom Farley and Alton Riddick. Let's get talking.
Thanks an awful lot for that great introduction, Alton. Today we have a really interesting man on our SEVACAST. He has been with us in the Tidewater area in Southeast Virginia since 2016. He came from Tuscany, Italy. Has an incredibly nice voice and style, and is one heck of a songwriter. I'd like to really welcome Luca Burgalassi to the broadcast. And how you doing today, man?
Hello everyone. Hello, Tom. I'm very good. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time so we can have this conversation, man. I really do. So let's just jump in and get started. Being a songwriter and a musician, where did you get your start? In other words, when did you begin that journey as a musician and as a songwriter?
So that was very funny. But I was very little kid, probably 5 or 6 years old, and probably even less. So my mom always told me that I was like standing in front of the TV and dancing and trying to act like a guitar player, moving my hands when I was listening to the music. So
air guitar.
she brought me to a very basic guitar lesson. I don't remember if it was in the church or something. But yeah, I started like a kid, 6 or 7 years old. And then I think my mom was listening to some jazz, to some Ella Fitzgerald and songs from the 40s and 50s. And I had this music in my ears since I was a kid. And then by the age of 11, probably in the middle school, I knew some other older guys, let's say, and they invited me in a band. So I had my very first electric guitar, and I started by game, of course, playing and writing the first songs. And I think I did the very first concert by the age of probably 12, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a family audience, but it was on a stage with everything, with my band. And it was
excellent,
so man. And then starting from, I think I had a very huge songwriting period between probably 14 and 18, 19 years old. So when I was in the high school, and then I had like 10 years of block. I don't know how, but maybe the college, I was busy in other things. But later, I went back to the old songs that I wrote at that age. I had a huge book, probably I have 50 or 60 songs there, that I wrote when I was 15, 16, I don't know. And one by one, I tried to remember them, because at the time there was no recording equipment, nothing. So it's just a few words and few chords on a piece of paper. But then I remember some of the lines, and I started working again to the songs. And my first album came out in 2015, so many years later. But it was basically a collection of all the old songs that I wrote when I was pretty young.
Well, a great song is a great song. I mean, you definitely have an incredibly immense catalog. I really enjoy listening. And you're also multi-genre, which a lot of people aren't. You can play blues, you can play rock, you can play ballads, you can play acoustic, you can play jazz. There's an awful lot of really, multi-genre influences that really comes out in your music.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have difficulty also to understand what kind of style I am singing and playing, because many people is asking what's your style, what's your genre, and I really don't know, because I like I like rock, blues, folk, everything which is related to the guitar in a certain way. I like the traditional music, but I don't think I am a bluesman 100%. I am not a country singer. I'm not a folk singer. I'm not a jazz singer. So I don't know, but I like everything more or less.
Well, you blended, I think, anyway. I think you blended the sound of your voice to the sound of your guitar beautifully. As far as guitars are concerned, which one is your favorite? Do you like classical or acoustic or electric?
Okay, to be honest, I started as an electric guitar player when I was young, so more in the hard rock, heavy metal style. But then, growing up, I started to be a little bit more intrigued into the acoustic sounds, bluesy, and so on. So now, for many years, I'm more into the acoustic world. So I like a lot all the stringed instruments, especially the old ones. So I would like to know much better how to play mandolin, banjo, slide guitar, all the traditional, let's say, instruments. So much more into the acoustic sound. Even if I still play electric, not very much, to be honest. I don't have an electric band. But yeah, in the records, I still play electric a little bit.
So let me ask you, as far as going back to your songs a little bit, what do you feel like is your strongest inspiration? Your personal experience, some kind of spirituality? What exactly really inspires you to write the songs that you do?
I think for sure the personal experience, and I like the song to be as much as possible universal, but also particular. So talking about something in detail, but also easy to be accessible to many people, even if they don't know the story. So
Understood.
I normally the music comes first, and then I put the lyrics in a strange way, because I'm not, of course, a native speaker. So, but since I was young, I was singing in English, and of course, it was a very bad and fake English. But I had that sound in mind. To me, a song should sound in that way, even if the words were not correct. And then, probably 50 or now more, but at the beginning, maybe 50% of the words actually had a sense. And it's like my interior, let's say, unconscious word that was coming out. So I used that 50%, and then I build the rest of the song based on this, let's say, primitive message that is coming out of the lyrics. So, but of course, yes, I'm talking about personal things mainly.
Well, let me ask you. You already said how much support you've gotten from your family. You moved here in 2016. That was a huge, gigantic decision, I'm sure. And how do you like the support that you've gotten here in Southeast Virginia since you moved here?
I have to say wonderful, because I really love the energy and the community and the spirit that the musicians have in this area.
Yeah, me too.
I was very scared, let's say, coming from Italy. I have no really any knowledge of the area, and I came from my, let's say, engineering work, so nothing to do with the music. So basically, I had no connection at all in the music environment, and it was very surprising and very exciting for me to discover a very open community, I've been very welcomed and very supported also a lot in all my music movements and path here.
Who we are not, beyond the glass, we got the bone, bare feet or cowboy boots, we all got that attitude.
From the creeks up to the moor, you got that title boot.
Highs and lows, ringing tunes,
Bluegrass country, jazz and blues.
here where Pocahontas sang the blues. Down where Ella whistled Irish tunes. Hey, you, tell the truth, ain't you got that attitude? Come here, buddy, tell me, dude, it's that water attitude.
So let me ask you, every artist goes through that major decision about doing your first album. I know it was a big decision for me. Just exactly, what was it that actually said, okay, I'm ready to do my first album, and I'm going to hook up with these people and at this studio or whatever? What made you decide to do that?
This is another funny story, because I had these old songs, as I told you before, written in this book, but I never had the feeling that I could play them or even record them, because it was some personal stuff that and even I was not thinking to be able to sing them, because I was writing song, but I was not able to. I was more a guitar player at the time, so never sing in public. So at some point in 2013, I think, I was skiing and I broke a leg, and I was forced to stay probably a couple of months without driving, so at home. And I decided to use that downtime to have a look at those songs and see. And then in the meanwhile, I was starting to play more, let's say, acoustic, and also to sing more, because from a band I was at some point playing in duo or playing by myself. So my vocal, let's say, attitude was a little bit improved. So I started by chance with a home studio to record some of the songs. At the beginning, I was thinking to use some other singer to perform them in my first album. But then I said, at the end, even if my voice will not be perfect, I prefer to use my voice for my songs. And then that started in this way. So I said, okay, let's select maybe the 10 songs that are more, I don't know, more important to me. And that's how my first album started. And I called it Shadows and Fragments, because actually those are shadows and fragments from that past that I would like to use and to rediscover.
That's a good story. I mean, it's also time well spent. A lot of people would waste that time. You put it to good use, and of course the result was excellent. Do you think, I mean, I know that you studied at several different schools in Italy. It shows, there's no doubt about it. You have a very, very nice style about you. But do you believe that you developed or are on the way to developing your own distinctive style? I mean, whether it's a blend of your guitar and your voice or just your guitar, how would you describe it if you feel like you're moving in that direction?
It's not an easy question. Let's say that I try to be as much as possible myself when I play. So I'm very curious, as I said, about the old style, but I like almost everything. As you were saying before, I'm trying to blend many styles. So I think the best, I'm not trying to imitate anyone. Also, good. Because I'm lazy and I don't have a very good memory. So I was never able to do, for example, a solo or a song the way it has been done in a record or in a concert by someone else. So I'm always, and this is a limitation, but also a fortune, because every time I play a song, I play my way, and I'm not able to play it twice in the same way. So I think this is again, I could never probably play in a cover band or in a musical when you have to play exactly note by note the same. I play my way every time.
I understand what you're saying. I think there comes a time in every artist's career when they take a look at a song, whether it's their song or somebody else's, and they say, okay, I can try and mimic their style, or I can actually, put it to my style and own it in my style. And I think owning it in your style is a more difficult way to do it in a lot of ways, but it also, it helps to, bring out your original self, which is, I think, what most people would really love to hear.
Yeah, and to be honest, it happens many times that I was, not arguing, but talking with other musicians, and they say, but this song is not doing that way in that part. There is another note there, and maybe another, I don't know, words, or it's a little different. And I say, probably, yes, you're right, but I don't know. I mean, there are 1,000 different versions of a song, and I would like to do my version. I don't care what other people did.
Absolutely, man. Good attitude. Down the pike, as you were coming and playing your guitar and so forth, and also in your vocals, what do you think, who are the major influences in your playing style and your vocal style?
That's another good question. So I think I did a sort of reverse music research, starting from when I was probably 15, starting from the music of the 90s. So I was listening to lots of rock, heavy metal there, and probably at that time, Steve Vai or Joe Satriani or Yngwie Malmsteen. Those were the guitar hero, Van Halen. But then I started to ask to myself, okay, what are the musicians that inspired those guys? So, and then I came back and listening to maybe Jimi Hendrix or Muddy Waters or John Lee Hooker, and then Robert Johnson, going backwards in the American folk and also in the European classical music. I mean, Django Reinhardt in the jazz, or even to Beethoven, Bach, and Mozart. Listening, trying to understand what was the ancestor of the music I was playing. So it's difficult to say what is really my inspiration. I like a lot, for example, what Eric Clapton is doing, because he's doing a lot of different blues style with
Yes, he is.
With some pop, some jazz, some his own version or of everything. So I like the way, let's say, he blend and he mix different styles. I like Paul Simon, for example, for the same reason, because he has a unique way to write songs.
I love him. I love him a lot.
Wonderful lyrics, wonderful arrangements. So I like this kind of world. And of course, I like Robert Johnson or Doc Watson, for example, more in the acoustic or let's say traditional styles.
Well, having that depth, that historical depth, really does play a really big influence on people. And man, the names that you put out there are some heavy hitters. There's no doubt about it. Let me ask you. Tell me about the "Come to My World." It's your latest. It's a great album. I've enjoyed listening to the songs that you sent in for me. And tell me something about the creation of that and the songs that you lean to. I know you got one in there that talks about Tidewater, but also there are blues, there are melody, there are ballads, there are it's a really nice collection. Tell me something about it.
Yeah, so "Come to My World" came out. So the idea started in last winter, but I was able to spend some time on the recordings actually in the spring. So when the first COVID pandemic started, and I think it was March. Coming from Italy, I was also listening to the news and reading the news. In Italy, there was a very bad lockdown.
Yeah, it was.
So, and here also the plant closed, the school shut down. So, and I had another downtime period, like for my first album. So I decided to use this downtime to work a little bit on the songs. And so this album basically "Come to My World." It's a sort of introspection, so a travel or an invite to travel to a journey to my feelings, my inner me. So, and there are songs talking about the fears, or talking about the pain, talking about some. There is "Lullaby," for example, is talking about the way to alleviate the fears of the night. There is another song which is called "Song in the Distance," which is talking about, the impossibility to travel. For me, that I have, for example, relatives and my family across the ocean, on the other side of the ocean, it's very complicated now. So you have to feel and to let's say exchange your feelings from a very long distance. And there are lots of feelings related to this particular situation. Another song, it's called "Home," and it's an instrumental song, and it's describing a little bit of blues, of melancholic feeling, talking about Italy and talking about home so far away. So it's a mix of different feelings, but I think the common environment is related to this lockdown period, and my Come to My World is just an invite to see what I'm thinking, what are my feelings.
Understood. You have one song on there that we talked about before we went on air, My Loving Babe. Could you say something about that one as well?
Yeah, that's a fun experiment. Actually, it's a pretty easy bluesy song, but it's in a strange rhythm. It's in 5/4, and it talks about the, let's say, willingness to see my baby. And of course, it's a funny game because you could not play live anymore. So my baby in that case was my guitar, and my guitar was really willing me to bring her somewhere for the night to play around, but it was not possible. So it was a joke, basically.
You're my loving babe, get ready for tonight. You're my loving babe, just waiting for tonight. Cause my baby needs my love, and I wanna treat her right.
Well, listen, everybody, you're a performing musician. Everybody goes through their major performing periods in their lives. Has there been a performance, whether it's in Italy or here, that really sticks out in your mind as being like a real benchmark moment for you? I'm sure everybody has them, but they're ones that, whether they're large or small, that just really have a major impact on your performing and your love of performing. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, I think I have probably 3 in mind. So the first one is the really first concert of my first album. So I prepared like a presentation concert in Florence in a very little but wonderful theater. And I called a bunch of musicians very close to me, very close friends from Italy. They are all exceptional musicians. And so it was super, especially for myself, from a feeling point of view, super exciting to hear for the first time my songs live in a theater. So this was really important for me, the first concert. The second one is probably the most important stage that I was playing on, and this was the Pistoia Blues. It's a very important festival in Tuscany, Italy. Every year they have major, let's say, headliners, and that time there was Little Steven, the Bruce Springsteen guitar player, playing, and I was the opening act for him. So it was huge and incredible to play live on that stage. And I think the third concert that is really important for me, it was the very first concert here in Virginia. So as soon as I came, after a few months, thanks to Brenda Barkley and Tidewater Friends of Acoustic Music, I was invited to play at the Zyder. So without knowing anyone, I set up a band very quickly, let's say, and in few days we put together the show. It was incredible at the time with Dave as fiddler, the bass player. So it was wonderful.
Well, there's a lot of I guess it may be a little bit more anxiety today than there has been at a lot of times, simply because everybody's sheltering in and venues are slowly opening. But I just saw an article in the paper today about how they're worried about, we're really doing pretty good compared to a lot of areas as far as venues because we're outside, but winter's starting to kick in and a lot of outdoor I guess you could say, playing spots for those venues are not going to be really good when when the temperature starts dropping.
Right.
So I was wondering, I know that public performance is a really big part of your life, but how are you? I guess you could say, looking at the future in terms of the possibility of public performances, and if you're going to go out and play, what are your favorite venues that you like to play in?
That's another very good question. So I really hope that so this situation can change soon.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I'm very concerned, of course. And the world is it's changed a lot since this pandemic is going on. So, and of course, I really don't want to put my music in front, or let's say before the health issue, or before the safety of other people. So I'm kind of waiting here and trying to understand how it goes. And probably I'm already thinking to wait till the situation will be okay again. I mean, especially if we cannot play outside, this will be a major issue. Again, I have many other musical ideas in mind, because I have another probably 2 or 3 albums that I want to work on. One is an instrumental album, which is basically already recorded. I have only to do the final master. Then I have other songs, and also thanks to this situation, I'm working a little bit more collaboration with other artists. So I'm actually working on a project with Risa Gibbs, which is a very fine, wonderful blues singer from Hampton. So, and I'm working with her. Probably we will do an album together of spirituals, traditional blues, and gospel songs.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm trying to spend the time and use the time doing something on my music, and normally I don't have the time to do it. So hoping that maybe next spring or summer we can go back to play music again live.
Oh, absolutely. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are listening to this, but also are performing musicians, that it's not just it's not just something to do on the weekend. A lot of them depend upon their performance income to pay the rent, pay the bills, put food on the table. So the sooner we can actually come to some kind of safe performance venue, I guess you could say, scenario, the better. My heart goes out to you. I'm not really actively performing anymore, but I understand the importance of performing, and my heart goes out to the people who really, really not only want to, but need to be out there performing.
Yeah, I understand. It's a very difficult topic. And I think that if it's not easy, but if we organize and plan in advance, we can find a safe way to play, even in the closed venues, in the closed environment. Of course, like any other kind of job, this is something that has to be done in the proper way, in the safe way. We need to be very careful. The player has some responsibility, and also the audience. So I think there must be a way to continue to do it safely, but of course it requires some effort, some attention, a little bit more than before. So,
well, let me ask you: have you participated in live streaming performances, and do you see that as a growing industry, simply because the technology is now coming forth, so to speak, so that musicians can take advantage and get a better product visually on their video and their audio? Do you see that as being a way to go?
To be really, really honest, I did it, and I am doing it sometimes, not too often. It's being a live performance guy and very instinctive person, like I told you before. It's very difficult, because I mean, you cannot really feel the shivers, the people, let's say the adrenaline with audience in front of you, and with being in a live performance situation. So it's completely different. Of course, thanks to the technology and thanks to the equipment that now we have, it's a way. I don't want to say it will be the way, but it's a way to continue to play. Yes.
Well, let me ask you, we're almost out of time here. I want people to be able to stay in contact with you, to be able to find your album, to be able to find out where you're playing. Can you give us some of the places they can actually go and look and find you? I know we have a connection to your website on the Radio Siva page under the artist section, but there's a lot more certainly that you could offer them as far as staying in contact with you.
Yeah, sure. So the first spot and the easiest is my Facebook page. It's Luca Burgalassi Music. You can find basically, and also you can reach out to me via Messenger easily on my page. Then I have my website, lucaburgalassi.com, and also I have my music online on every major platform. So iTunes, Amazon, Reverb Nation, everywhere. Apple Music, so Spotify. So in order to listen to my music, I think it's very simple. Just Google my name and you can find it. In order to find when I am playing live, Facebook is the best way. And if you want to buy my CDs, I have physical copies here, and they are available online on CD Baby, on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, everywhere.
Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. I think the area is, we're lucky to have you. I know that leaving Italy must have been, like you said, a huge, gigantic decision. You have family over there and everything, but we are the better for it. I love your music, and I hope that your catalog continues to expand and grow. I'm really looking forward to hearing that instrumental album. That sounds like it would be a really nice piece. So I really appreciate your time today. And look, we haven't even never really met face to face yet. But as soon as the opportunity arises, I'd love to sit down at a table somewhere and just have an expanded conversation. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you. And of course, I will share with you my new, music, new projects, and so on.
Absolutely. Well, take good care and stay healthy. And for all of you listening, thanks for joining us tonight.
Check out Radio Siva by going to the Siva Sound homepage and clicking Radio Siva, or to live365.com and search Radio Siva. If you have any questions, comments, or topic ideas for SEVACAST or for Tom and Alton, go to sivasound.com and click on the Contact tab.